Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about whether or not you should or should not buy a used Rolex. So just full transparency, on my wrist right now, I do have a used Rolex. I have a 16570, so I have an Explorer 2 polar dial. This is from 1996, and this is actually a gift from my now wife, but it was an engagement gift, so obviously I bought her a nice ring. She bought me obviously a nice watch, which was, incredible and unexpected. But yeah, that is this is what I'm wearing currently. So I am into old used watches. I'm into new watches as well. This one technically isn't vintage just because it's not old enough, but I'm into vintage watches also. So that being said, do you have a few reasons on why you may want to go into the used market for a watch, and a couple on why you may not. And the first one that I'm going to talk about is going to be cost effectiveness. So for example, if you're just like, look, I want Rolex, I don't really care what kind it is, I don't really care too much about what shape it's in, I don't care whether or not it has a box and papers, I just want a Rolex. I want it to say Rolex on there, I want to be able to be in the streets with a Rolex. And that's awesome. You will be able to find some less expensive ones than the retail pricing. For example, you can probably pull up Chrono 24, look for a Datejust, and get those in the range of like, I don't know, 3,500 to 5,000. Obviously more than that, but you should be able to find quite a bit in that range, which is quite a bit less than Rolex's least expensive brand new watch, which is like the Oyster Perpetual right now. So yeah, the option to find something a bit less expensive is out there if you're looking on the used market. Um, Something else that I want to talk about is the design. So obviously Rolex is in the business of making incredibly beautiful, timeless designs. There's a lot of examples out there where, if you were to just look at it, you would not know what era that's from. For I actually remember working with a client a few years back who I made a comment on his watch, and he was like, "You'll never guess, what year this is from." And then he kind of hit it, yeah, so that I couldn't inspect it a little bit more. But I was like, I mean, I only caught a little bit of it, but from what I saw, I would imagine it's at least 10 years old. And he was like, way older than that. So it was actually from the year 1977, which was like, way before I was born. So yeah, they look amazing. They definitely keep looking amazing as long as you take care of them for a really long time. And something that I would not recommend, but he told me, he was like, I've never even serviced this thing. So that was, also a mark and a nod to the quality and the craftsmanship, which is obviously another point as to why you should feel okay buying a Rolex. These things are made to last. I mean, I don't like to say forever, but I mean they're made to last a very, very, very long time. Especially if you do service them and keep them serviced at regular intervals. So obviously they're made of very high quality. They're precision devices. They're made to the highest specifications. So especially if you know that the watch you're looking at buying has been taken care of, yeah, I mean it's really gonna keep running for. I mean, kind of the joke in the industry is like they're gonna outlast us. So maybe not forever, but definitely for as long as I'll be alive. So anyway, the next one that I want to talk about is kind of an interesting one, but it should be out there. Like, I mean, I'm a vegan, so I care not only about health but also environmental impact that we have on the world, and that is the next one. Obviously the environmental impact. Can't go without saying that. Obviously, if you're buying a used watch, and not saying that Rolex is out here, polluting the world with stainless steel or gold or whatever, or digging up. I don't, know all of their practices. They're a very ethical company for the most part, but obviously buying used anything is a more environmentally conscious way to go. So there's a point for environmentalism on that one as well. The other thing that I think is really cool, and it kind of goes to the design aspect thing, is you can find some really awesome, rare, unique watches out there made by Rolex. For example, there's companies and businesses that will give tenured employees a watch with the logo of their company stamped on the dial, which are really awesome. Recently, I saw a Domino's Pizza one, a Coca-Cola one, like two companies that I don't really eat or drink much of anything of their stuff, but it's still cool to see these things. There's a lot of really unique stamped rare dials out there that are fun to see. Now, for the most part, these rare stamps will be far above the retail value, but if you're not really too interested or you're not really too bothered by the cost and you just want something super unique and rare, I mean, that's the only way to go. I think it's awesome. Um, However, that being said, we do have some negative sides of buying in the used market, some cons, if you will. So I think that one of the first things, and probably the biggest thing for me, is the quality or the authenticity of the watch. The last time I was in New York and getting one of my watches serviced, I can't tell you. I think that it was like at least three people who I literally saw get turned away by Rolex because you go up there, have a little bit of a consultation, you get a name, give them your name, they call you when your turn is up. You go up to the desk, and literally like a minute later, they were walking out the door. I was hearing them saying like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is counterfeit, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I don't know, obviously, all of the situations or everything that happened with these people, but I do know that there were at least three, I think, five people in the hour and a half that I was in there. So it's kind of scary. Every time I buy a used watch, I do like to take it into a dealer to just have them give it a look over and make sure that everything is cool with it, that nothing has been tampered with, or there's nothing counterfeit. You hear these Franken watches quite often, but that is something just to look out for. They always say, when you're buying used, to buy the seller, not the watch. So, obviously make sure that you trust who you're buying the watch from. Even with box and papers, there was a story that I read a couple years back about John Mayer, who obviously, I mean, I don't know, obviously, if you know anything about John Mayer and his watch collecting, he's one of the most respected names in the game. So he has an awesome collection, but his dealer out of California had been for a couple years selling him counterfeits. So that's just an example of a really big name being taken advantage of. So it does happen, and that's just something that it's real. So just keep your eye out for that. The other thing that you should maybe think of, and this is both for used and new watches, more so used because you will be needing to service them, I would imagine, much more often, is your location to an authorized dealer. So for me, I'll only go to an authorized Rolex dealer to make sure that my watches are in good running order. However, if you have a used or vintage watch, and maybe you don't live nearby one of those, that can be a bit frustrating, having to either travel somewhere or ship it off. Something that you might want to deal with, can be quite costly also, depending on what the issues are, because obviously these watches are not under warranty when they're used pieces. And then one of the other things that I don't really like to talk about a lot, because that's not why I'm in it, nor am I, someone in the financial world who is here giving financial advice. I am not. But lately, more so now than ever, these Rolex watches specifically have just gone crazy in aftermarket value and investment value, if you will. So, most financial advisors have never really advised in the past to like buy a watch as an investment. Now, though, there's quite a few. I have quite a few friends in the financial world who are saying like, right now I would be buying up quite a few watches as like literally as investment pieces. Currently, you can, let's say you were able to get a Rolex at a retail value, which is absolutely not the case unless you are a very, very valued customer or someone. But anyway, let's say you were able to get one at retail. Let's just say that retail was 10 grand. You walk out the door with that thing, depending on what it is, it's twice that, just out the door. Even if you wear it, it's still at around that value. So, currently, as it stands, they are, looked at as kind of like an investment. And while they do keep their value, generally, always, Rolexes, I'm not out here saying, I go and, sell your house or your portfolio and buy a bunch of watches. I'm just saying that they have lately more than ever been keeping, not only keeping, but really exceeding in their values, kind of skyrocketing. So that's just another thing to look out for as well. And I think that that's kind of everything. You know, I love used watches. I love new watches. I love all watches. So just giving you a couple of pointers to look out for either way. You know, if you have been following Rolex for the last few years, you know that it is pretty hard to get one at retail. Um, Unless again you're an extremely valued client who spends a lot of money there, or you do know someone. Um, it's just kind of hard to get those at retail. So you know, just keep all that stuff in mind. I hope that this video was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions, and happy watch hunting. Have a great day.